How's it going? This morning I woke up thinking about this, and I thought it might benefit you guys out there that are selling dog training, that maybe don't have a formal approach, maybe you're just kind of winging it, and maybe it's going okay. But I found that early on in my career, I got in a sales slump. Like, people just weren't buying from me. I wasn't sure what was going on. And I had to really start to reevaluate what I was doing and get myself back on track, because it wasn't like I was never selling. I was selling a lot, and then all of a sudden I wasn't selling anything. So immediately I had to reevaluate what I was doing in the sale. You know, it wasn't the people, it was me. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Scott with sixfiguredogtrainer.com. And my goal is to help you make more money. So what I put together is a 30-minute timeline of the presentation. And I found that if I ever spent more than 30 minutes with a prospect, typically I didn't sell the job. I didn't get the dog training work. So I think it's a good rule of thumb. I think it works really well for me. And I'm going to take you through this 30-minute timeline quickly, but starting with, and I broke it up into 5-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute, 5-minute. And that's the way I approached it. And when I got this down, even if I wasn't looking at the clock, when everything was said and done, quite often I'd look at the clock and it would be like 27 minutes. And it didn't feel rushed. Everybody was happy. Everybody was on the same page, which is very important. Another thing that this will help you with is customer satisfaction. Again, when I first got started, people would come in, they had to get their dog trained, they were pulling out their credit card like in the first 5 minutes of meeting me. And I was taking the credit card because I needed money and I was trying to build this business and I wanted the cash flow. But inevitably you'll wind up with more problems on the other end if you just take people's money too quickly. You really want to make sure that you can help them and that they are going to know what their part is in this whole process, because as we all know, training the dog is only part of it. We need to get the human on the same page with following through on the other end, and we need them to understand that no matter how good the dog is with us, if they don't change their behavior on the other end, it's all going to go right back to where it was, and it will be a big waste of money for them and no one will benefit. So that being said, the first 5 minutes when they come into your office or you go to their location, however that works for you. With me, I always had them come to my location, my facility. What you're doing there is you're qualifying them. The first thing is you're going to build some rapport, naturally. If you don't know what that is, look it up. That's not what this video is all about. But you want to establish some rapport so they're comfortable talking to you and they don't think you're a friggin' nut job or something, or some disconnect there between the humans. They need to feel comfortable. You want to get into pain points right out of the gate. Why'd you guys come in? You know, why didn't you come last week? Why don't you come next week? Why are you coming today? What exactly is going on with this dog that caused you to get together with a dog trainer today? Maybe it's that you're the second or third stop for these people. They don't know. So, but you need to uncover some of these pain points to find out the seriousness of why they came in. There could be a dog bite. There could be someone got pulled on the ground. It could be a child got hurt. There's any number of things. It could be a huge potty training problem with the dog. So it could be destructive behavior. It could be an anxious dog that's chewing up the walls. But you need to get into that stuff with them. And if they're evasive about that, you need to dig. You don't go beyond this point until you've uncovered the pain points there. And you're also qualifying them, as I said earlier, about making sure that they understand what their part in this whole thing will be. And kind of explaining to them what exactly you do. You know, we can train the dogs, but the dog is not going to be on remote control when it goes home. Like, it's not like getting a bug out of a computer and now you guys can live happily ever after. You don't need to do any follow-up classes, or you don't need to do any homework. We're going to take care of everything for you. That's, as we all know, that's not the way dog training works. But that's what people want to hear. A lot of times people just want to give some money to a problem to get it out of the way, but they don't really want to do the work. So establish that stuff in the first 5 minutes. This could also be a time when you tell them, I don't think I can help you. And you either refer them to someone else, tell them they should put their dog down in some cases, worst case scenario, or just tell them you can't help them, that it just doesn't work. We can't offer what they want. And there's been many people I've said that to. And it's better to do that than take money from someone that has unrealistic expectations and then is going to put all kinds of heat on you later on because the dog isn't exactly what they wanted. So that's what you're establishing in that first 5 minutes before you even touch a dog. That shouldn't take long. As I said, 5 minutes is plenty. You're popping into your next 5 minutes, and that's where I typically would say, if you don't mind, let me take your dog and I'm going to work with your dog a little bit and just do an evaluation, and I'm going to do things like touch their ears and maybe look in their mouth, and I'm going to, if they say their dog pulls a lot, I'm going to see if I can get that dog to walk on a loose leash. I'm going to use food, I'm going to use whatever techniques I need to show the client that I can do something with their dog without it becoming uncomfortable for me, the dog, or the human. I don't want them to say, oh my God, this is too harsh, I'm not comfortable with this and that. So we need to be very tactful, and we need to work with these dogs and try and show something. And on the other side of that, if the dog is like really anxious and just pulling in all directions and crazy and won't take a treat because they're so anxious, that's okay too. And I've mentioned this in other videos. You can point out this anxiety issue. And quite often they'll say, oh yeah, I understand. You know, it's a big issue and that's why we're here. And that doesn't mean that you can't help them, but you're getting more into the behavioral aspects of dog training and relationship and all that other stuff. And that'll cause you to offer them something different on the other end than maybe what you would have if they just wanted a dog not to pull on a leash. So you want to show them some results, or at the very least, you want to share some insight with them as to what you feel their dog's issues are, so that they feel, again, that you're an expert, you know what you're talking to, they feel comfortable with you, that you've kind of hit it right on the head as far as what they need. And now you're going to get into your presentation. Now you're going to say, come sit down with me. You're going to get out a contract, and you're going to offer them 3 options. And out of those 3 options, you have one in mind that you know will work best for them and their problem. So you're going to tell them, here's option A, option B, option C. And then you're going to say, whichever one of those is best for them, that you feel is the best alternative. You might say, I think that option B is, given what I've seen in the evaluation here, option B is going to help you the most. And you guys can go back and forth about what they may feel they can afford and what you think is the best option. And quite often the best option, excuse me, isn't the most expensive option, you know, depending on what the situation is there. After they've decided on what they feel the best option is, and you've filled in this paperwork, you're going right into the close. And you're going to spend 5 minutes getting that handled, helping them to understand that what the terms are of the contract, that there's no refunds, that they need to get this work done within a certain time frame. There's no guarantees that you're going to make this dog better in any way. And I always under-promised, and then it was very easy to over-deliver. And what I was saying is not that I couldn't make progress. I felt that I could, and I would tell them, as you could see in the evaluation, I'm comfortable, I think I can make something happen here with your dog. But there's no guarantees. It's a dog, it's a separate entity, a living being, that the relationship I have with the dog is not going to be the relationship that your husband or your child has with the dog. And that's what I mean by no guarantee. Just because I can walk the dog, you can walk the dog, doesn't mean your 7-year-old daughter is going to be able to walk this dog. So getting everyone on that same page in the beginning will lower customer dissatisfaction on the other end when all the work is done, and now you're going down the road 3 weeks or a month from now, and all of a sudden you're getting a call that, you know, I'm having a lot of trouble with my dog, with my husband, because he won't do the homework or he won't do this or that. And you're going to help them. I'm going to say, no problem. Is there any way we can get him to come in? Would you like me to go out there and meet with him? Whatever that's going to be, or the wife, whatever the spouse is, or someone in the household's having some trouble. It may be that I need to remind them, hey, you haven't come in for follow-up classes. I haven't seen you for a class in 3 weeks. And you want to get them back on the same page. And this is going to eliminate all complaints. You will not have complaints if you do this the right way. After they sign the contract and agree to no guarantees, this is going to expire if you don't do anything for 6 months, you know, and you've gone through what their part of this relationship is going to be. You reclose. Now they've given you the credit card or check or cash. They've signed all the paperwork. You do not want to just next and kick them out. You want to spend a few minutes with them there. And if they're questioning anything, I always tell them, hey, listen, now is the time. If we're going to, if you don't want to do this, now is the time. You know, we can rip this up, we can end the whole thing, it's no problem at all. And quite often when you give them that impression that you're willing to just let this go and take your money and go, because you have plenty of people to see, plenty of dogs to train, and if they're not comfortable with it, by all means, do not do it. That usually eliminates this buyer's remorse that could pop up tomorrow, 3 days from now. I'm not comfortable with this. You know what I mean? It's too much money. You've gotten all that out of the way, and that's when you're spending that last 5 minutes just making sure everyone's on the same page. Everyone feels good. Everyone feels good about this transaction. So that's it, guys. That's your 30-minute timeline. Okay? I have found personally, if I get into 45 minutes, the better part of an hour, I don't sell the work. What I've done is allowed them to take me on this, you know, tangent, talking about the last dog they had and how perfect the last dog was. And for a stupid reason, I accommodated, I bought into their story, and no dog training got sold, and we both wasted an hour of our time. So stay on track. How to keep them on track is another video altogether. I just wanted to give you a breakdown of how I used to sell dog training. I sold millions of dollars in dog training, one dog at a time, just like this. Hope it helps you guys. Thanks. Peace.